At IBC 2016, the InterOp Zone was a joint effort between a lot of groups, and it was brought to IBC by both IABM and AIMS. And as you can see, there were over 30 plus vendors that were put together. Behind me here, we also had in the InterOp Zone, we had the studio that's actually feeding IBC TV, and it's all done with IP. And that's a joint effort with VRT EBU for live IP. And then if we take a look around the side here, you can see the production area where the switching is done, and the technical director, etc. And then over here on this side of the booth, we have the zone set up where we have a discovery and registration zone, PTP timing, as well as IP transport. Alex, you're looking after the IP transport area of the InterOp demo here at IBC, and just tell me what people mean by IP transport.
Here we're looking at uncompressed, in-facility, and studio applications over IP.
So this is based on, is this standardized at this point, or how does that work?
We're showing SMPTE 2022-6, which is standardized, and technical recommendations TR03 and TR04, which are the basis for SMPTE 21 or 10.
So the point of this is really to show how IP transport is interoping between all sorts of different vendors. So you've got a huge rack here. Is it mainly baseband stuff? Does it all go through an IP switch? How does that work?
There's an IP switch at the core of it, and various receivers are subscribing to the various transmitters. There's some selected pairings indicated below the displays.
So on the monitor here we've got 2022-6, and how does that work? All the manufacturers are working together. What does that mean when it says embryonic into harmonic?
The manufacturer on the left is the transmitter. The manufacturer on the right is the receiver that's subscribed to that stream through the switch using IGMP.
Okay, so it's totally glitch-free. Obviously, some of them are a little bit delayed more than the others, but really, really minor. And here on the next monitor, we're showing TR03, and again, it's the same thing?
Yes, transmitters and subscribed receivers. The difference with TR03 is that the video essence and the audio essence and the ancillary essence are separated and transmitted over separate streams for studio applications. So if you'd like to go with the audio to a switch mixing panel, for example, you can do that independently of the video, and afterwards they can be recombined, and there's provisions for retiming the lip sync using precision time protocol.
Paul, you're here helping describe the call it the timing area or the PTP area. So this is really ultimately the end game of the blackburst replacement when we go IP 100%.
It is, and it's more than that, because it's exactly the same IP network that is carrying all of the essence around that is also doing the locking. So you do away with quite a lot of cabling as well.
Well, that's cool, then we don't have a separate blackburst. Now what happens if we do need blackburst?
Oh, it is possible to integrate legacy methods with IP methods. There are quite a lot of boxes that translate between the two environments.
Now this is a super important aspect, of course, when we get to IP. So just generally here, what do you have at the InterOp display?
On this part of it, we're showing that it's possible to replace the old black and burst changeover arrangements that you always have to have, so there's no single point of failure, with two grandmasters sitting on the same network, so that they're the timing masters and they are putting out their signals, and slaves are deciding according to the quality that they actually announce they have. They are deciding which of the two grandmasters to lock to, and should one go away or degrade its quality, it will then go away and lock to the other one.
Now one last question. With Genlock, we were kind of used to dealing with vectors and getting it down into a few degrees. So what does that turn into when we're going IP?
Well, now that buffering is a necessity with any data network, you can relax the limits. You're not looking to sub-nanosecond. Okay, so you see up here we're we have sub-microsecond precision, 200 nanoseconds of division, but we typically say 1 microsecond to make it easy, taking into account the buffers that people always implant.
Alex, you're looking after the discovery and registration side of this, and most people, when they think of IP, they just think of transport. So what does this mean?
Yeah, that's right. So discovery and registration is a really important part of our future IP broadcast systems. If you think about the idea of virtualizing broadcast systems, then it becomes really, really important to be able to know what is running in your broadcast plant at any one time. And AMWA's ISO4 NMOS system enables us to very easily show you everything that you've got on one screen.
All right, so just hang on. NMOS, ISO4, meaning?
Sure. So NMOS stands for Network Media Open Specifications. And basically what that means is we've got a family of specifications being produced by a working group in the AMWA who are working to add metadata and APIs on top of the transport layer that have already come from people like the Video Services Forum.
So previously, if I had a camera I needed to throw on quickly as an extra beauty shot or something, I just put it into the SDI port on the router. So what does that mean now?
Yep, so that's exactly what you would have done previously. Now, of course, the problem that you've got with IP interconnections is that you might only have one network port on the back of your piece of equipment. So previously you might have had different sockets for all kinds of different signals, and it would have been very obvious what signals your camera could produce and what cables you could connect or had connected to each one. Now, on IP, maybe that camera does have that one network socket and that's it. So with AMWA's ISO4 NMOS, Discovery and Registration System, we are able to, using an API, list all of the different ways you can connect to a device on the network, all of the different kinds of audio, all of the different kinds of video that it produces.
So that means ultimately this is more flexible than SDI.
Oh, definitely. It really, really does. And it means that you won't have to spend time in the future working out what you've plugged in, what port you've plugged it into, because that doesn't really matter very much anymore. It's very easy to build an application that will give you a view of everything you plugged in and enable you to manage it from one place.
So what are we looking at over here?
So this is a Grass Valley multi-viewer, and they have implemented the NMOS APIs. So what we're seeing here is uncompressed video, which is being carried according to TR03, coming into the multi-viewer, and as you can see, it's being displayed. But importantly, we can discover that the multi-viewer exists. We can show it on a screen as a multi-viewer capability in our broadcast plant, and we can actually control what each of the segments, each of the quadrants in the multi-viewer is showing.
I guess that's the cool part, because before, ultimately, you never had any feedback that the multi-viewer was there. So ultimately with IB, it's bi-directional.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most important things that IP brings. Suddenly you have the ability for every device on your network to actually tell you something about itself, and that starts with telling you that it actually exists.
Really cool stuff. Thanks, Alec.
No problem.